Thomas and Friends, Emily. This story is about Emily, who came to join the steam team on Sodal. At first, some of the engines weren't very friendly to her. Emily wondered why she had done wrong. It was Emily's first day on the Fat Controller's railway. She was a beautiful engine with dark green paint and a shiny brass fittings. "Meet Emily," the Fat Controller said to Thomas. "Peep, peep," whistled Thomas. Emily smiled. "Are you ready to collect your coaches?" Emily asked the Fat Controller. "Yes, sir," said Emily. Emily steamed away, but the only coaches she could find were Annie and Clarabelle. Emily's driver coupled them up behind her. Annie and Clarabelle were not happy. "Thomas won't like this," grumbled Clarabelle. Emily passed Edward and Percy further down the track. She whistled a friendly hello, but the engines both pulled angry faces. Just then, Thomas came puffing down the line. "Peep, peep. Hello, Thomas," Emily called. But when Thomas saw that Emily was pulling his coaches, he looked cross too. Emily chuffed away, feeling sad. She didn't know why all the engines were being so rude to her. The Fat Controller came to meet Thomas at Mayfleet Station. "I want you to collect some new coaches from the docks," he told Thomas. "Off you go." "New coaches?" thought Thomas. Thomas's wheels wobbled with worry. He thought the new coaches were for him. He didn't want new coaches. He wanted to keep Annie and Clarabelle. Later that day, Oliver met Emily in the yard. "What are you doing with Thomas's coaches?" Oliver shouted. Emily felt terrible. No wonder Thomas was cross, she thought. "I must take Annie and Clarabelle back to him right away." Emily set off, but soon had to stop again. Oliver had broken down on the track crossing. Suddenly, Emily heard a clickety-clack on the track ahead. It was Thomas, and he was steaming straight towards Oliver. "Bust my buffers," cried Emily. "Thomas will never stop in time." She biffed Oliver, pushed him over the crossing just before Thomas rocketed past. Emily had saved Thomas and Oliver. "What a brave engine you are, Emily," the Fat Controller said proudly. "So here is a special surprise, your very own coaches." "Thank you, sir," smiled Emily. "I'm sorry I took Annie and Clarabelle, Thomas." "And I'm sorry for being cross," said Thomas. Emily was happy. Now she had 2 new coaches and a new best friend. Next day, Emily's job was to take trucks of flour to the bakery, but the naughty trucks made Emily late. "If you are late again, you will do the Black Loch run instead of pulling the flour mill special," the Fat Controller boomed. Emily promised to be on time. She didn't want to do the scary Black Loch run. She had heard that a monster lives in the log. But the next day, the trucks were naughty again. They made Emily set off too soon, and half the trucks were left behind. The bakery manager was not happy when Emily only delivered half the flour. She raced back to collect the rest of the trucks. Biff! Emily shunted them hard, but the trucks had taken off their brakes and rolled into the duck pond. Splash! What a sticky mess! The next morning, the Fat Controller came to see Emily. You are to take over the Black Loch run," he told her. Thomas gasped and Emily frowned. "What about the Black Loch Ness monster?" She puffed sadly to the station where lots of exciting passengers were waiting. "I must be brave," said Emily as soon as she was steaming up hills and through valleys. At last, Emily reached the Black Loch. Her boiler bubbled as a strange shape splashed in the water. But it wasn't a monster. It was a family of friendly seals. Emily smiled a big smile. The next day, Thomas came to watch the seals too. Both engines agreed that the Black Loch run wasn't scary after all. "Things aren't always what they have seemed," said Thomas wisely. The end.